Okay, this video is going to explain about how we determine how many digits are in a measurement, how you measure correctly with both a graduated cylinder and a ruler, and how we make sure when we measure that we have the correct number of significant figures. So there is some uncertainty in measurement, and when people make measurements, we're not always going to be perfectly the same when we make a measurement. Okay, so every measurement has that degree of uncertainty. The last digit you write down is always going to be your estimated digit. Okay, so if we look at these two examples here, we have a 25 milliliter graduated cylinder. We know that it has at least 10 milliliters in it. We can see right here that it's filled to this line. Then what we have to do is look at each one of these graduations and decide how much they're worth. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different graduations between 10 and 15, so that means each graduation is 1 milliliter. Okay, so what we do now is we write down the certain digits. So we know here, it looks like this meniscus here, you always read from the bottom of the meniscus, it looks like it's maybe slightly underneath the line here, just a little bit underneath. Okay, so what we want to do is write down that we have 10 milliliters for certain, and then we're going to kind of estimate. It's not quite up here to the 11, so we would say 10.9 milliliters. Okay, I'm not sure what's happening with my pen here. 10.9. Always read the liquid from the bottom of the meniscus. Okay, that's the way that that always works. Okay. So here, we're going to look again. If we believe that is exactly between the 10 and the 11 mark, we would write 10.5. Okay, I think it's a little bit closer to the 11. If we try to get a line drawn here, I don't know if it'll let me. Okay, right in there. Okay, it might be close to half. I think it's a little above that. So your estimated digit would be your 0.5 here. If we look over here and believe that this meniscus is exactly on the line right here, okay? So we know, again, this line is 12, so we know for certain we have 12 milliliters, and then we're estimating that we think it's exactly on that line, so we would write the 0.0 behind it. Somebody might think it's 12.1. Somebody might think it's 11.9. So this last digit is our estimated digit. So we write down what we can measure, and then we estimate a digit. In this case, we wrote down that we knew we had 10. We didn't quite think we had 11, so we estimated that 0.5. And again, we could disagree. Somebody might think it's 10.6, somebody 10.7. So that's how we get our certain and our estimated digits. Now we have a ruler. Okay, so when we look at this, we've got centimeters, we've got our little lines are going to be our millimeters. There's 10 millimeters within every centimeter. So here we know for certain that we have 4 centimeters, so we would write that down. In the metric unit system, we have no decimal, or no fraction, excuse me, so we would write our decimal next, if it'll let me. And then we would look and say, well, we have 2 millimeters for sure after that. And then again, I don't think it's quite on the line there. I think it's just a teeny tiny before that. So I would make it 2.9. And so this here is my estimated digit. If you thought it was exactly on this line, then you would write 3 and then a 0 behind it, because the 0 would be your estimated. So it would be 4.30. So again, you can see we're going to be close, but when we estimate that last digit, we might not completely always agree. Okay, let's look at this next one. This next one here, again, we know we have 3 centimeters this time. And then our millimeters, we know we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 millimeters. It's not to the 9th one. So we're going to write down 8. We know those two things for certain. And now we're going to guesstimate. I think it's pretty darn close to being right exactly in the middle here. So I'm going to put 5 as my estimated digit. If you thought it was a little further than that and put 0.6, that would be fine too. But this last digit is going to be estimated. That's how you use a centimeter ruler correctly. You write down your centimeters, you write down your millimeters, and then you estimate that last digit. Okay, so here they felt the line was exactly on the 3, so they put 4.30. Here they felt like it was exactly in the middle, so they put 3.85. Okay, so here, choosing the right instrument. If you need to measure out only 5 milliliters of something, you're not going to choose a 100 milliliter graduated cylinder. You're going to pick a smaller one, something like a 10 milliliter or a 25 milliliter graduated cylinder. We have both of those here, so I would pick the 10 milliliter graduated cylinder. The smaller the instrument, the more an error matters. So you have to be very careful. If you're only measuring 5 milliliters and you're off by a whole milliliter, that's 20%. If you're measuring 100 milliliters and off only by a milliliter, that's only 1%. So you have to be really careful when you're measuring small amounts that you're exact with that.